Becca told me to act confused. She said you wanted me here. That I was becoming a burden.
That's when I knew. My wife of 46 years was sitting in a memory care facility, playing broken, because someone in our own family had erased her. This is how I discovered my family had stolen my wife. My name is Richard Hale. I am 70 years old. I spent 32 years as a district attorney in Dallas County. I retired 5 years ago. People still call me judge sometimes, though I never held that title. Old habits die hard in Texas. Old respect lingers even longer. I built my career on facts, on evidence that couldn't lie, on witnesses who eventually told the truth, even when they didn't want to. I won 83% of my cases, not because I was brilliant, because I was thorough, because I listened to what people said and measured it against what they did.
To Richard, not everyone is a criminal.
Margaret used to joke that I brought the courtroom home with me. She wasn't entirely wrong. I cross-examined plumbers. I demanded evidence from contractors. I kept receipts for everything. She'd roll her eyes and say that line, but she understood. She knew what the work did to you, how it changed the way you saw the world. I returned home on a Tuesday evening in late October. The flight from Paris had been long. My knees ached. Arthritis, the doctor said. Nothing serious, just age making itself known. My back complained every time I shifted in the cramped seat. But my mind was clear, sharp even. Margaret always said my mind would be the last thing to go.
Your body might quit, but that stubborn brain of yours will keep arguing until the very end.
3 weeks in Europe with old law school friends, Bill, Warren, and Tom, had done me good. We'd walk the streets of Rome until our feet begged for mercy, argued philosophy over wine in Bordeaux like we were 25 again, young and certain about everything. Laughed until we couldn't breathe. We'd planned this trip for 5 years, delayed it twice. Bill's wife died. Warren had a heart scare. Tom's daughter got divorced and needed help. But we finally went, and it was everything we'd hoped. I'd called Margaret every day, morning for her, evening for me. She told me about her week. The church library needed new shelves. The neighbor's dog kept getting into our yard. She'd started a new mystery novel.
Just like you, except this one knows when to mind his own business.
She sounded fine. Normal. Herself. The plane touched down at DFW just after 7. The cabin lights came on. People stood up before the seatbelt sign turned off like they always do. I stayed seated. Let the crowd push past. I've learned patience in my old age. 5 minutes won't change anything. I expected Margaret to be waiting at arrivals. She always waited. 46 years of marriage, and she'd never once sent someone else to fetch me. Not from conferences, not from depositions in Houston or San Antonio. Not even that time I got food poisoning in El Paso and had to stay an extra 3 days. She drove 6 hours to bring me home herself. Said she didn't trust anyone else to take care of me. But it wasn't Margaret standing by the luggage carousel. It was Michael. My son looked tired. His shirt was wrinkled, his tie loosened, dark circles under his eyes. He's 43 now, a commercial real estate broker, successful by most measures. He makes good money, drives a new Lexus, lives in a house twice the size of the one he grew up in, 3 kids, a wife who organizes charity fundraisers. The American dream, packaged and delivered. But he's always been soft. Conflict makes him squirm. Even as a boy, he'd cry when I raised my voice, not at him, just in general. If I argued with Margaret, even playfully, he'd leave the room.
Too sensitive. Good kid, but he'll never be a linebacker.
The coach was right.
Dad.
He didn't smile, didn't move to hug me, just stood there, hands in his pockets, shoulders hunched like he was bracing for a hit. "Where's your mother?" He took my carry-on bag, avoided my eyes, looked past me, at the crowds, at anything but my face.
Let's get your luggage first.
"Michael?"
Dad, please. Let's just...
"Where is Margaret?" People flowed around us. A child screamed somewhere near the baggage claim. A woman yelled into her phone about a missed connection. The conveyor belt groaned and started moving. Michael's jaw worked. He was sweating despite the air conditioning. A muscle in his cheek twitched. I'd seen that twitch before. He was about to tell me something he knew I wouldn't want to hear.
She's in a facility, a memory care place, Greenwood Oaks, over in Richardson.
I felt the ground shift, not literally, but the world tilted, just slightly, just enough to make me reach for the wall.
What? It happened about 10 days ago. She started getting confused, forgetting things. Becca noticed it first. You know how she is, always paying attention to details, sharp-eyed. She said Mom called her 3 times asking the same question. Then she went to the store and forgot where she parked. We called Dr. Morrison. He recommended an evaluation.
An evaluation?
For dementia, Dad. Early-stage Alzheimer's, maybe. The doctor said it can come on suddenly sometimes.
Margaret is 67. She walks 3 miles every morning, does the crossword in pen, manages our investments, volunteers at the church library every Thursday. She is not confused. I want to see her.
We'll go tomorrow. Visiting hours are 9 to 8. Becca's at the house. She'll explain everything.
Michael picked up my suitcase from the carousel. Navy blue with a red tag. Margaret had bought it for me before the trip. "So you don't look like you're carrying your father's hand-me-downs," she'd said. I let him take it. I was calculating, measuring his words against what I knew. Something was wrong. The prosecutor in me, the part that never fully retires, began taking mental notes. Timeline, 10 days ago, while I was in Bordeaux, while I called her every morning and she sounded fine. Evidence, Michael's body language, the sweat, the averted eyes, the too quick explanation. Witness credibility, low. We drove in silence. Michael turned on the radio. Some pop station his kids probably listened to. Tinny voices sang about heartbreak. I reached over and turned it off. The silence was better. It gave me room to think. "Tell me exactly what happened."
Like I said, she started acting confused, forgetting appointments, leaving the stove on. Becca found her wandering in the backyard at 2 in the morning, saying she was looking for the garden hose in the middle of the night, just standing there in her nightgown, barefoot, holding a flashlight.
Margaret has never wandered.
That's what dementia does, Dad. It changes people, sometimes overnight. Dr. Morrison said it can present suddenly, especially in women her age. Hormones, stress. Sometimes there's no reason at all. It just happens.
I watched the highway lights blur past. The Lexus smelled like new leather and vanilla air freshener. Michael always kept his cars immaculate. Another thing Becca insisted on. Image mattered to her. Appearances, what people thought. We took the exit toward our neighborhood. Tall oaks lined the streets, their leaves turning gold and brown. Halloween decorations hung from porches. Our street looked the same as it had for 20 years. The Johnsons' house still needed new gutters. Mrs. Chen's garden still bloomed with late roses. But nothing felt the same. Michael pulled into our driveway. The house lights were on. Every window glowed, every single one. Margaret hates wasting electricity. She walks through the house at night, turning off lights behind me.
We're not lighting a stadium, Richard.
She would have left only the porch light burning. Maybe one lamp in the living room. Not this. This was a stage, all lit up, waiting for an audience.
Richard, welcome home.
She hugged me. Her perfume was too strong, something floral and expensive.
I'm so sorry about all this.
I want to know everything.
Of course. Of course you do. Come in. I made coffee. You must be exhausted from the flight.
The house looked wrong. Too clean. Margaret keeps things tidy, but there's always life to it. Her reading glasses on the side table, a half-finished knitting project on the couch, the morning paper folded to the crossword, a coffee mug with lipstick on the rim. The slight disorder of a home that's lived in. All of that was gone. The counters gleamed. The cushions sat perfectly arranged. Even the air smelled different, like lemon cleaner and artificial flowers, like a house staged for sale. Becca poured coffee into 3 cups, bone china, the set Margaret only uses for guests. We sat at the kitchen table. Michael looked at his hands. His wedding ring caught the light.
It started about 2 weeks ago. I came by to drop off some things for the church fundraiser. Margaret answered the door in her nightgown. At 3 in the afternoon. She didn't recognize me at first.
Margaret knows you.
Not that day. She asked if I was here to clean the house. I called Michael right away. We came back that evening with Dr. Morrison's nurse practitioner. She did a basic cognitive test. Margaret couldn't remember what year it was. Couldn't name the president. Got confused trying to count backward from 100.
I drank my coffee. It was too hot. I didn't care. Where's her purse?
What?
Margaret's purse. The brown leather one she carries everywhere.
I think it's upstairs. Why?
I want to see it.
Dad, what is that?
Get it. Becca went upstairs. I heard drawers opening. She came back down with the purse. I opened it. Margaret's wallet was inside. Her driver's license, credit cards, library card, a shopping list in her handwriting. Milk, bread, tomatoes, chicken breasts, green beans. The handwriting was steady, clear, no tremor, no confusion. When did she write this?
I don't know. Before, I guess.
Before what?
Before she got worse.
I folded the list and put it in my pocket. I'm going to see her tomorrow. First thing.
Visiting hours don't start until 9.
Then I'll be there at 9. Michael drove me to the bedroom. He offered to stay. I said no, I wanted to be alone. The room felt like a hotel. The bed was made with hospital corners. Margaret's side table was empty. Her book, a mystery novel she'd been reading, was gone. Her reading lamp had been unpacked, but it sat at the wrong angle. She always tilted it toward the headboard. I opened her dresser drawers. Half empty. Some clothes remained, but her favorites were missing. The blue cardigan she wore every morning. The silk scarf I'd bought her in Florence. Her mother's pearl earrings. I checked the bathroom. Her perfume bottles were gone. The good French ones I'd just brought back from Paris, still in my suitcase, were meant to replace the ones that should have been here. Someone had packed her things, carefully, selectively. I sat on the edge of the bed. The house was silent, too silent. No hum of Margaret reading in the next room. No soft footsteps. No water running in the kitchen as she made her nightly tea. I've prosecuted hundreds of cases. I know when someone is lying. I know when a story has holes. I know when evidence doesn't match testimony. And I know when I've been played. Michael's story had gaps. Becca's explanations felt rehearsed. The house had been staged. Margaret's belongings carefully removed, just enough left behind to seem normal. But it wasn't normal. I thought about the shopping list. Clear handwriting, recent groceries, a woman planning meals, not a woman lost in confusion. I thought about Margaret's face, her sharp eyes, her quick laugh, the way she'd corrected my French pronunciation before I left.
It's merci, Richard, not mercy. You sound like you're begging.
That wasn't dementia. I lay back on the bed, still in my travel clothes. The ceiling fan turned slowly overhead. Margaret had wanted to replace it last spring. I'd said we'd do it in the fall. Outside, a dog barked. A car door slammed. Normal sounds. Normal neighborhood. But nothing about this was normal. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow I would see Margaret. I would look at her face, listen to her voice, and I would know. 32 years as a prosecutor taught me one thing above all others. The truth always leaves traces. You just have to know where to look. And I intended to look everywhere. Because if someone had done this to Margaret, if someone had taken her from her home, from her life, from me, they had made a terrible mistake. They had mistaken a retired prosecutor for a harmless old man. They were wrong. I was 70 years old. My knees ached. My back hurt. I got tired earlier than I used to. But my mind was sharp. My memory was long. And my sense of justice had not dimmed one bit. I would find out what happened. And when I did, someone would answer for it. I didn't sleep. I lay in bed and watched the ceiling fan turn. Counted rotations, lost count, started again. The house creaked around me. Unfamiliar sounds in familiar places. Or maybe I'd just never noticed them before. Margaret usually filled the silences, her breathing, the rustle of pages when she read late into the night, the soft pad of her feet when she got up for water. All of that was gone. The absence was louder than sound. At 4:30 I gave up. I showered, shaved, put on a suit, navy blue, the one I wore for closing arguments.
That's when you're serious.
She'd say.
That's when you mean business.
I meant business. The house was dark, silent. I made coffee in the kitchen, strong, black, the way I've drunk it for 40 years. The machine was new. Some expensive Italian brand Becca must have bought. Chrome and buttons and a digital display. It hissed and gurgled, made more noise than coffee. Margaret's old Mr. Coffee had been quiet, simple, one button. It worked for 15 years before it finally died. This one announced itself like it wanted applause. I sat at the table and reviewed what I knew. Prosecutor's habit. Build the case before you walk into court. Know your evidence, know your witnesses, know your holes. Facts. Margaret supposedly developed sudden dementia. Becca discovered it. Michael called a doctor. An evaluation was performed. Margaret was placed in a facility. All in 10 days. All while I was unreachable in Europe. Convenient timing. Timeline problems? I called Margaret daily. Mornings for her, evenings for me. She sounded normal, alert, engaged. We talked about books, politics, the neighbor's new fence. She complained about the church librarian reorganizing the mystery section. No confusion, no memory loss, no wandering at midnight looking for garden hoses. Evidence problems. The shopping list in her handwriting. Clear, recent, purposeful. A woman planning meals doesn't have dementia. Witness credibility. Becca rehearsed her story. I've heard enough rehearsed testimony to recognize it. Michael avoided eye contact, classic deception indicator. Both showed signs of stress when questioned. Why stress if telling the truth? Motive? Unclear. But motive always emerges. You just have to dig. Follow the money. Follow the benefit. Someone always benefits. I finished my coffee, checked my watch. 5:30. Greenwood Oaks visiting hours started at 9. I wasn't waiting until 9. I drove through empty streets. The sky was gray. Dawn coming, but not yet arrived. Streetlights still glowed. A few cars passed. Early shift workers. People with somewhere to be. I'd looked up Greenwood Oaks last night, after Michael left, after Becca went home. Luxury memory care facility, private rooms, 24-hour nursing staff, $7,800 a month. Insurance covers some of it, not all. Someone was paying the difference. I wanted to know who. The facility sat behind a brick wall with an iron gate, manicured lawns, flowering beds even in October, a fountain in the circular drive. It looked like a resort. Rich people's guilt, Margaret would have called it. Spend enough money and maybe you won't feel bad about warehousing your parents. I parked and walked to the entrance. Glass doors, locked. A buzzer on the wall. I pressed it. A young woman appeared. Scrubs. Name tag that said Jessica. She looked at me through the glass, pointed at her watch, mouthed, 9 o'clock. I pulled out my wallet, held up my old DA badge. I'd turned it in when I retired, but they let me keep a courtesy card. No legal authority, but most people don't know that. She hesitated, checked over her shoulder, then unlocked the door.
I'm sorry, sir, but visiting hours...
I just returned from overseas. I was told my wife is here, Margaret Hale. I need to see her.
Mr. Hale? Yes, but really I should...
5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. She looked at my face, saw something there. Desperation, maybe, or determination. She stepped aside.
Room 114. Down the hall, left at the nurse's station. But if my supervisor asks...
You never saw me. She nodded, grateful. I walked down the hall. Soft carpet, muted lighting. Classical music played quietly from hidden speakers. Vivaldi. Margaret loves Vivaldi. I wondered if that was coincidence, or if someone had checked her preferences. Room 114 had a small nameplate, Margaret Hale. The door was open. I stopped in the doorway. She sat in a chair by the window. The early light touched her gray hair. She wore a blue cardigan, the one from home, the one I'd noticed missing from her drawer. She was looking out at the gardens, still, quiet. I knocked softly on the doorframe.
Richard.
Not confused, not disoriented. She knew me immediately, said my name like she'd been waiting for it. Margaret.
You're home. I didn't think. I wasn't sure when.
I came as soon as I knew.
We shouldn't talk here. They check on me every 30 minutes.
Who does?
The nurses. Becca asked them to. She said I might get agitated, might try to leave.
Do you want to leave?
Richard, I don't belong here. I'm not sick. I'm not confused. I don't know why I'm here.
I studied her face. Her eyes were clear, focused. No tremor in her hands except from cold. No slurred speech. No vacant stare. Tell me what happened.
They told me it was routine. A cognitive assessment for insurance purposes. Becca said everyone our age had to do them now. New regulations. She drove me to an office in Richardson. A doctor was there, a woman. She asked me questions.
What kind of questions?
Strange ones. What year is it? Who's the president? Count backward from 100. I started to answer, but Becca kept interrupting. She'd say things like, "Mom, you already forgot that," or, "Mom, we talked about this yesterday." The doctor would look at her, then at me. I realized I was being tested.
And?
Becca kept talking, telling the doctor I'd been confused, forgetting appointments, leaving the stove on. None of it was true, but I didn't know what to do. I thought if I protested too much, I'd seem paranoid, so I stayed quiet. And then she said, staying quiet was a symptom. The doctor agreed. She said denial and silence were common in early dementia.
I felt rage building, cold and sharp, the kind I used to feel in court when a witness lied under oath. So they brought you here?
That afternoon. Becca said it was temporary, just until you got home. She said you'd agreed to it before you left. I didn't believe her, but what could I do? I had no phone, no wallet. Michael had my car keys. I signed papers I didn't understand. They said I had to.
Who told you to act confused?
Becca. She came the next day, told me the state was sending someone to do a final evaluation. She said if I passed it, they'd release me, but if I failed, they could keep me longer. She said you'd be very disappointed if I made trouble, that you wanted me here, that you'd told Michael I was becoming a burden.
I said no such thing.
I know, but I didn't know that then. I thought maybe you'd noticed things I hadn't. Maybe I was sick and didn't realize it. So when the evaluator came, I pretended. I acted vague. I couldn't remember the date. I couldn't name my grandchildren. I played the part she told me to play.
Why would she want you to fail?
I don't know. But Richard, she's been asking about the house, about our finances. She mentioned selling it, moving us into something more manageable. She said with both of us getting older, we'd need help. She could manage everything if we gave her power of attorney.
There it was. Motive. I'm getting you out of here.
How? I signed papers. Michael has medical proxy. They told me I can't leave without a doctor's approval.
I'll get a doctor's approval.
Becca knows all the doctors. She's on the hospital board. She volunteers everywhere. Everyone knows her.
I know people, too. Different people.
Please be careful. She's not. I don't think she means to be cruel. I think she's just...
She had you institutionalized based on lies. That's not confused kindness, Margaret. That's calculated.
She's still Michael's wife, our grandchildren's mother. If you make this a war...
She made it a war when she took you from our home. The door opened. A nurse stepped in, different from the one at the front, older, 50 maybe, gray hair pulled back tight. She looked at me, then at Margaret. Her expression hardened. She'd been warned about me.
Visiting hours start at 9.
I'm her husband.
I know who you are, Mr. Hale. Mrs. Becca Hale called yesterday. She said you might try to visit early. She said it would upset Margaret. She asked us to call her if you showed up outside visiting hours.
I felt the trap closing. Becca had thought this through, covered her bases, positioned me as the problem, the difficult one, the one who couldn't follow rules. I'm not upsetting anyone. Look at her. Does she seem upset? The nurse looked at Margaret. Margaret stared out the window, face blank, hands folded in her lap, playing the role Becca had taught her, the confused woman, the lost woman, the woman who needed protection from her own husband. My heart broke watching it.
I'm going to have to ask you to leave. You can come back at 9 with the rest of the family.
The rest of the family put her here.
Sir, I don't know anything about that. I just know you're here outside visiting hours, and I need you to leave. If you don't, I'll call security. I don't want to do that. I'm sure you don't want that either."
She was right. A scene would hurt my case. Give Becca ammunition. Violent, aggressive, unstable. The words she'd use, the narrative she'd build. I stood, looked down at Margaret. She wouldn't meet my eyes. Still playing her part, protecting herself the only way she knew how, in a place she didn't belong, among people who thought she was broken. "I'll be back, and I'll bring you home the right way, not by force, through truth." I walked past the nurse. She stepped aside, let me go without incident, down the hall, past the nurses' station where two women looked up from their computers, past the fake plants and watercolor paintings of serene landscapes, out through the glass doors where the early morning air hit my face, cold, sharp. I sat in my car, gripped the steering wheel. The leather was cold under my palms. I breathed slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth, counted to 10, then 20, then 50. An old technique from court, when a witness lied and you wanted to shout, when a judge ruled against you and you wanted to argue. You counted, you breathed, you controlled it. By the time I reached 100, the rage had settled, cooled, sharpened into something more useful. Purpose. I'd spent 32 years building cases, finding evidence, proving truth, tracking down witnesses who didn't want to be found, exposing lies that seemed airtight. I knew how to do this. I knew exactly how to do this. But I'd have to be careful, smart, methodical. Because Becca had been planning this. She'd laid groundwork, made calls, positioned pieces, set traps. She wasn't stupid. She was careful too, organized, connected. She knew people, had relationships, could call in favors. But she'd made one mistake. She'd underestimated me. She'd assumed a retired DA was just a tired old man, someone who could be managed, someone who'd defer to the younger generation, someone who wouldn't fight back, someone who'd sign whatever papers they put in front of him and fade quietly into irrelevance. She was wrong. I started the car, pulled out of the parking lot. The sun was rising now. Orange light spreading across the horizon, a new day beginning. I had work to do. I didn't go home. I drove to a diner on Beltline Road, the kind that opens at 6. Truckers and third-shift workers sat at the counter. I took a booth in the back, ordered coffee and eggs I didn't want. I needed a place to think. The waitress brought coffee. I wrapped my hands around the cup. Let the heat sink in. Margaret's words kept circling.
Becca told me to act confused. She said you wanted me there. She said I was becoming a burden.
Lies. All lies. But Margaret had believed them, had performed confusion for strangers, had erased herself because she thought that's what I wanted. That was the cruelty. Not the facility, not the paperwork. The cruelty was making Margaret doubt herself, making her complicit in her own erasure. I took out my phone. Old model. Margaret kept telling me to upgrade. It made calls, sent texts. That's all I needed. I called Michael. It rang 4 times, then 5.
Dad? It's 6:30.
I saw her. Silence. I heard him sit up, heard sheets rustle, heard him walk somewhere. A door closed.
You weren't supposed to go until 9.
I went early.
Dad, you can't just...
She's not confused, Michael. She's perfectly lucid, alert. She knew me immediately. More silence. Longer this time. I let it stretch. Silence makes people uncomfortable. Makes them fill the space. Usually with truth.
The doctor said she has good days and bad days,
He said finally. This wasn't a good day. This was a normal day. Because she's a normal person who doesn't belong in a memory care facility.
Dad, I know this is hard, but Becca saw things you didn't see because you were traveling. Mom was forgetting, getting confused. We had to act.
You had to act while I was gone, while I couldn't stop you.
We didn't plan it that way.
Didn't you? He didn't answer. I heard breathing, heard him thinking, calculating. I need you to come to the house, I said. This morning. We need to talk.
I have a closing at 10.
Cancel it.
Dad.
Michael, you put your mother in a facility based on a fraudulent evaluation. You signed papers. You moved her belongings. You did this while I was unreachable. Now you're going to sit down with me and explain exactly what happened, every detail, every conversation, every document, or I'm going to start making phone calls.
What kind of phone calls?
The kind I used to make. To judges, to investigators, to people who know how elder abuse cases work. I heard him swallow.
That's not what this is.
Then come explain what it is. 8 o'clock. Don't bring Becca. I hung up, drank my coffee. It had gone lukewarm. I finished it anyway. The eggs arrived. The waitress smiled, tired eyes. She'd probably been on shift since midnight.
You okay, hun?
I'm fine, thank you. She walked away. I looked at the eggs, pushed the plate aside. I made another call. Alan Pierce. Judge Alan Pierce, retired. We'd worked together for 20 years. He'd presided over half my cases. Tough, but fair. The kind of judge defense attorneys respected even when he ruled against them. He answered on the second ring.
Richard, you're back. How was Europe?
Complicated. I need a favor.
Name it.
I need you to recommend a good elder law attorney. Someone who handles guardianship disputes. Pause.
Everything okay with Margaret?
No. I told him. Kept it factual. Timeline. Events. Evidence. He listened without interrupting. Prosecutor and judge. We spoke the same language. When I finished, he was quiet for a long moment.
Jesus, Richard. Your own son?
I don't think it was his idea.
Doesn't matter whose idea it was. He signed the papers.
I know.
You're going to need more than a lawyer. You need the evaluation records. You need the examiner's notes. You need to prove fraud.
I know.
The examiner. You know who conducted it?
Not yet, but I will.
Find out. Get their name. I know people. If there's something off about the evaluation, we'll find it.
Alan, I don't want to make this a war. Not yet. These are my grandchildren's parents.
Richard, they made it a war when they institutionalized your wife. You're just deciding whether to fight back.
He was right. But knowing he was right didn't make it easier.
Send me what you find. I'll start making calls.
I thanked him, hung up. Paid for food I didn't eat. Left a 20 for Rosa. She'd earned it for the warm advice alone. Michael arrived at 7:50. Early. That was good. Meant he was nervous. Nervous people make mistakes. I let him in. He looked worse than last night. Unshaven, wrinkled shirt, red eyes. He hadn't slept either. We sat at the kitchen table. Same table where Becca had served coffee yesterday. Different energy now. Then it was her stage, her performance. Now it was my courtroom. "Talk," I said. He rubbed his face.
What do you want to know?
"Everything. Start with when it began."
About 3 weeks ago. Becca came over to drop off some things. Mom seemed off, distant. Becca tried to talk to her, but Mom kept forgetting what they were discussing. It worried her.
Becca worries about a lot of things.
She cares about Mom.
Does she? It wasn't a question. Michael caught the tone, looked down at his hands.
She came back the next day, brought groceries. Mom had left a burner on. Nothing caught fire, but Becca was concerned. She called me at work, said we should get Mom checked out, just to be safe.
And you agreed?
Yes. I called Dr. Morrison's office. They recommended a specialist, Dr. Whitmore. She does cognitive assessments.
Dr. Jane Whitmore?
Yes. You know her?
I didn't, but I would. Go on.
Becca took Mom to the appointment. I couldn't get off work. Becca said the evaluation didn't go well. Mom couldn't answer basic questions, got confused about dates, couldn't remember recent events. Dr. Whitmore recommended immediate placement. Said Mom wasn't safe living alone.
Margaret wasn't living alone. She was living with me.
You were leaving for 3 weeks.
So you waited until I left.
We didn't wait. It just happened that way.
Michael, things don't just happen. People make choices. You chose to do this while I was gone. He looked at me. Real fear in his eyes now.
Becca said it would be easier. That you'd be upset. That if we waited for you to come back, you'd fight it and Mom would get worse.
How much is the facility costing?
What?
Greenwood Oaks, $7,800 a month, plus fees, plus extras. Call it $9,000. Who's paying?
Insurance covers.
Insurance covers 60% if you're lucky. Who's paying the rest? Silence. Michael.
We are. Becca and me. We set up an account.
How generous. And what did you ask for in return? His face went pale.
Nothing. We didn't ask for anything.
Power of attorney? Deed transfers? Access to accounts?
Dad, no. It's not like that.
Then what is it like? He stood up, started pacing. He always paced when he was trapped, even as a boy. I'd catch him in a lie and he'd pace the kitchen, around and around until he finally confessed.
Becca thinks we should sell the house,
he said finally.
She thinks you and Mom should move somewhere smaller. Easier to manage. We could help you find a place, handle the sale. Make it simple.
Simple for who?
For everyone. You're 70, Dad. Mom's 67. This house is too big. Too much maintenance. Too many stairs. What happens when you can't manage it? When one of you falls? When
we become inconvenient.
That's not what I'm saying.
That's exactly what you're saying. We're in the way. We have assets you want access to. So you invent a crisis, create an emergency, force a solution that benefits you.
You're twisting it.
Am I? Tell me about the evaluation. Were you there?
No. I told you I was at work.
So only Becca was there. Only Becca heard what Margaret said, or didn't say.
Are you suggesting Becca lied?
I'm suggesting Becca shaped the narrative. I'm suggesting Dr. Whitmore got a very specific version of events. I'm suggesting Margaret was coached to fail that evaluation. Michael stopped pacing, stared at me.
Mom told you that?
She did.
And you believe her? A woman who might have dementia?
She doesn't have dementia, Michael. I spent 30 minutes with her this morning. She's sharp, clear, completely herself.
One good moment doesn't mean...
It wasn't a moment. It was sustained, coherent. She remembered everything, including Becca telling her to act confused. His face changed. Shock. Then something else. Realization. He sank back into the chair.
Oh, God.
You didn't know. It wasn't a question. I could see it. the pieces clicking into place for him. The things that hadn't made sense, the rushed timeline, Becca's insistence on handling everything, the way she'd kept him away from the evaluation.
She said Mom was getting worse. She said if we didn't act fast, the state might get involved, that it would be worse, that we were protecting Mom.
You were protecting Becca's plan.
I didn't know. Dad, I swear I didn't know.
I believed him. Michael was weak, easily led, but he wasn't cruel. He'd been used, manipulated. Becca had played him as thoroughly as she'd played Margaret. The documents you signed. Do you have copies?
At home, in my office.
I need them. All of them, today.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to get your mother out of that facility, and I'm going to find out exactly what your wife did to put her there.
Dad, if this goes public, if you make this legal, Becca there could be charges, criminal charges.
Yes.
She's my wife, the mother of my children. If she goes to prison...
She committed fraud, Michael. Elder abuse, maybe forgery, those are felonies.
I know, but think about what that means. For the kids, for the family, for
Margaret, who's sitting in a facility she doesn't belong in, playing confused because she thought I wanted her there? Is that what you want me to think about? He put his head in his hands.
No.
Then help me fix it.
How?
Bring me the documents, all of them. Then we're going to visit Dr. Whitmore, together. And you're going to ask her some very specific questions.
What questions?
The ones I tell you to ask. He looked up.
You're going to destroy her, aren't you, Becca?
I'm going to find the truth. What happens after that depends on what the truth is.
She's not a bad person.
Maybe not. But she did a bad thing, and bad things have consequences. Michael stood, moved toward the door, stopped.
I'm sorry, Dad. I should have questioned it, should have waited, should have
protected your mother. Yes, you should have. He flinched, but he nodded. He left. I sat at the table. The house was quiet again. Morning light came through the windows. Dust motes drifted in the beams. I thought about justice. I'd spent a career pursuing it, believed in it, built my life around the idea that truth mattered, that right and wrong weren't negotiable. But I'd always done it to strangers, people I didn't know, didn't love. This was different. This was Michael. The boy I'd taught to ride a bike, to throw a baseball. The young man who'd asked my blessing before proposing. The father of my grandchildren. And Becca. Difficult Becca. Perfect Becca. Who organized birthday parties and sent thank-you notes and showed up to every school play. Who loved my son. Who'd given me 3 beautiful grandchildren. If I did this, if I followed the evidence where it led, I would destroy that family, my family. Emily, Jacob, and Sophie would have a mother in prison. Michael would have a wife with a criminal record. The holidays would end, the Sunday dinners, the carefully maintained structure of our family life. All of it would shatter. I closed my eyes, saw Margaret sitting by the window, playing confused, playing broken, erasing herself because she thought that's what I wanted. Opened them again. Saw myself. Justice wasn't loud, wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, methodical. It was sitting at a table at 8 in the morning deciding to destroy your son's marriage because the alternative was letting a crime stand. It was choosing truth over comfort, right over family, the law over love. I stood up, went to my office, pulled out a legal pad, started writing. Names, dates, documents needed, questions to ask, people to call. Building a case the way I'd built hundreds before. Except this time, the defendant would sit across from me at Christmas, would call me Dad, would look at me with my grandchildren's eyes and ask why I did this to them. And I would have to have an answer. The question wasn't whether I would do it. I would. I'd already decided. The question was what it would cost, what I would lose, what we would all lose. Justice always had a price. I'd sent people to prison knowing their children would grow up without parents, knowing families would fracture. It was necessary, right, the price of law. But I'd never had to pay it myself. Until now. Michael brought the documents at noon. He looked worse, eyes sunken, shirt untucked. He'd been crying. I could see the red rims, the puffy lids. He set a manila folder on the kitchen table, didn't sit down, just stood there holding his car keys like he might run.
It's all there,
He said.
the evaluation report, consent forms, placement papers, everything I signed.
I opened the folder, scanned the first page, standard cognitive assessment form, patient name, Margaret Ann Hale. Evaluator, Dr. Jane Whitmore, clinical psychologist. Date of evaluation, October 3rd, 10 days ago. The day before, I'd called Margaret from Bordeaux. She'd sounded fine. Told me about a new mystery novel. Complained about the church librarian. No confusion, no memory loss, nothing. Did you read these? I asked.
Yes.
And?
Some of it doesn't sound like Mom. The answers Dr. Whitmore recorded. Mom knows what year it is. She knows the president. She's never called me Stephen. That's Becca's brother's name.
I looked at the form. Question. What is your son's name? Answer. Stephen. No, Michael. I think Michael. Margaret is called Michael by his name for 43 years. She's never hesitated, never confused him with anyone else. Where's Becca now? I asked.
At the gym. Her Tuesday class. She'll be there until 2.
Good. We're going to see Dr. Whitmore.
Now?
Right now. Michael shifted his weight.
Dad, what are you going to do?
He asked. Ask questions.
What if she won't see us?
She'll see us. Dr. Jane Whitmore's office was in a medical complex off Preston Road, 2nd floor, beige walls, soft lighting, waiting room with magazines nobody reads. The receptionist looked up when we entered, young, college age. She smiled professionally.
Do you have an appointment?
No, but Dr. Whitmore will want to see me. Tell her Richard Hale is here, about my wife's evaluation.
Dr. Whitmore is with a patient. If you'd like to schedule...
I pulled out my old DA card, set it on her desk. Tell her it's urgent. Tell her it's about a potentially fraudulent assessment. Tell her I can wait for her current patient to finish, or I can come back with the state licensing board. Her smile vanished. She picked up the phone, spoke quietly, listened, hung up. Dr. Whitmore will see you in 15 minutes. We sat. Michael stared at his shoes. I watched the clock. 12:47, 12:51, 12:59. At 1:03, a door opened. A woman emerged. Mid-40s, professional but tired. Gray suit, pulled back hair. She looked at me, then at Michael.
Mr. Hale, please come in.
We followed her into an office. Books on shelves, diplomas on walls, a desk with a computer, and a small plant that needed water. She gestured to chairs. We sat. She closed the door, remained standing.
I want to be clear from the start. I can't discuss a patient's evaluation without proper consent. HIPAA regulations.
I'm the patient's husband. Michael is her son. We're both listed on her medical forms. We have consent.
Even so, there are protocols.
Dr. Whitmore, let me save us both time. I know my wife isn't confused. I know your evaluation says otherwise. I know someone influenced that evaluation. I'm here to give you a chance to explain before I file a complaint with the licensing board.
That's quite an accusation.
It's not an accusation. It's a fact. The question is whether you were complicit or fooled.
Mr. Hale, I conducted that evaluation in good faith. Your wife presented with clear signs of cognitive decline, disorientation, memory gaps, difficulty with sequential tasks.
Did you conduct the evaluation alone?
No. Your daughter-in-law was present. She provided background information.
And during the evaluation, did my daughter-in-law interrupt, correct my wife, suggest answers? Dr. Whitmore's expression shifted, just slightly, a flicker of something, doubt maybe, or recognition.
Family members often help clarify.
Did she interrupt?
Yes, several times, but that's not unusual. Patients with dementia often need prompting.
Or patients without dementia need coaching to fail.
That's...
Did my wife answer any questions correctly before my daughter-in-law interrupted? Pause. Dr. Whitmore looked at her computer, clicked, scrolled, read.
Some.
She said quietly. Which ones?
Mr. Hale, I don't think.
Which ones? She turned the screen toward me.
These. She correctly identified the year, named the president, knew her address, gave her correct birthday. Then Mrs. Becca Hale mentioned that she'd gotten confused about these things yesterday, that she'd called her grandson by the wrong name, that she'd forgotten what day it was. Your wife became quiet, withdrawn, wouldn't meet my eyes. When I repeated the questions, she gave incorrect answers or said she didn't know. I interpreted that as anxiety interfering with recall, a common symptom in early dementia. The patient becomes aware of their deficits and shuts down.
Or a coached performance.
You're suggesting your daughter-in-law deliberately.
I'm not suggesting. I'm stating. My wife was told to fail this evaluation. She was told I wanted her in a facility. She was manipulated into erasing herself. Dr. Whitmore closed her laptop, folded her hands.
Mr. Hale, if what you're saying is true, this is a serious matter.
I know.
I would need to amend my report, possibly withdraw my recommendation. There could be legal implications.
I know that too. She looked at Michael. He'd been silent the whole time.
It's true,
he said.
Becca coached her. I didn't know, but she did.
Dr. Whitmore's face went pale.
You're certain?
My mother told my father, told him Becca instructed her to act confused, to fail the test, to pretend she didn't know things she knew perfectly well.
Well, why would she do that?
I don't know. Money, control, the house, I don't know. But she did it, and I helped her without knowing what I was helping.
Dr. Whitmore stood, walked to the window, looked out at the parking lot below, silent for a long moment.
I've been practicing for 18 years. I've conducted thousands of assessments. I pride myself on accuracy, on helping families. If I missed something this fundamental, if I allowed myself to be used...
You didn't miss it. You noted it. Your report says my wife answered correctly, then changed her answers. You saw it. You just interpreted it wrong. Because Mrs. Becca Hale told you to interpret it that way.
Yes. What do you want from me?
The truth. In writing. A formal statement that the evaluation was compromised, that external influence affected the results, that my wife's placement was based on faulty conclusions.
That will destroy my credibility.
No. Lying will destroy your credibility. Admitting a mistake will preserve it. She looked at me, really looked. Prosecutor and psychologist, both trained to read people, both trained to find truth.
You're not going to sue me.
No.
You're not going to destroy my practice.
Not if you do the right thing.
And if I refuse?
Then I make phone calls. To the licensing board, to the facility, to an attorney. And this becomes public. Messy. Expensive. You'll spend years fighting it. Even if you win, you lose. She sat down, opened her laptop, started typing.
I'll have a statement ready by end of day.
Thank you.
Don't thank me. I should have seen it, should have questioned more, should have trusted my instincts instead of someone else's narrative.
You're seeing it now. That's what matters. She printed something, handed it to me.
This is my preliminary statement. I'll send the formal version to your email, the one on your wife's intake form.
I took it, read it. Clear, direct, professional. It would work. One more thing. Did Becca pay you directly for the evaluation?
No, your son's insurance covered it.
Did she offer you anything? Any kind of compensation? Dr. Whitmore's face changed.
She offered to donate to my research fund, $5,000. I declined. I don't accept gifts from patients' families.
But she offered.
Yes.
Thank you for your time, Dr. Whitmore.
Mr. Hale, I'm sorry. Truly, your wife seems like a remarkable woman.
She is. We left the building, stood in the parking lot. The afternoon sun was bright, too bright, made everything sharp-edged. Michael leaned against his car, put his head in his hands. His shoulders shook. He was crying again.
What now?
He asked. Now I get Margaret released.
And Becca?
That depends on Becca.
What do you mean?
I mean, she has a choice. Make this right quietly, or make this right publicly. Admit what she did, help undo it, or face the consequences in court.
You'll give her a chance?
One.
When?
Tonight. Greenwood Oaks is having their Family Day celebration. Becca will be there. So will you. So will I. And so will the truth. Michael looked up. His face was wet, red, defeated.
Dad, she'll deny everything. She'll say Mom is confused, that you're confused. She'll make it sound like we're the problem.
Maybe. Or maybe she'll realize she's caught, that the only way out is through honesty. That I have Dr. Whitmore's statement, that I have evidence, that the game is over.
You don't know her. She doesn't give up. She doesn't admit fault.
Everyone admits fault eventually, when the alternative is worse.
This is going to destroy us. The kids, the marriage, everything.
Your marriage destroyed itself when your wife committed fraud. I'm just revealing what's already broken.
That's easy for you to say. It's not your marriage.
No. It's my wife, sitting in a facility she doesn't belong in. It's my wife, playing confused because she thought I abandoned her. That's what's easy for me to say. Michael had no answer. He got in his car, drove away. I sat in mine, watched him leave, felt the weight of what was coming. Tonight, at Greenwood Oaks, Family Day. Balloons and cake and supervised activities designed to make relatives feel less guilty about warehousing their parents. Becca would be there, smiling, perfect, playing the devoted daughter-in-law, and I would end her performance. Not with rage, not with violence, not with drama, with evidence, with truth, with the quiet revelation that everything she'd built was collapsing. I started the car, drove home. The house was still too clean, still staged, still wrong. But not for much longer. Margaret would be home soon, back in her chair, her books on the table, her crosswords in pen, her coffee mug with the lipstick mark. Life would return. Noise would return. Home would return. But something would be lost, had already been lost. Trust. Family. The illusion that blood protected you from betrayal. Michael knew now, could never unknow. Would look at his wife and see the liar, the manipulator, the woman who erased his mother for money. Their children would know eventually, Emily, Jacob, Sophie. They'd grow up with this story, this fracture, this knowledge that their mother did something unforgivable. And Becca, perfect Becca, what would she lose? Everything, probably. Her reputation, her freedom, her family. Part of me felt nothing. She'd earned this, made her choices, built her trap. Part of me felt sorrow for the grandchildren who'd lose their mother, for Michael who'd lose his wife, for the family gatherings that would never happen again. Justice always fractured something. I'd known that as a prosecutor. Sent fathers to prison knowing children would suffer. Sent mothers away knowing families would break. Put people behind bars and watched their lives collapse behind them. It was necessary, right? The price of law, the cost of civilization. But I'd never had to watch it happen at my own dinner table. Never had to be the one who broke his own family apart in the name of justice. Tonight, I would. And I still didn't know if I'd made the right choice, only that I'd made the necessary one. Sometimes that's all justice is. Not right, just necessary. Not good, just required. The truth emerging, whether you want it to or not. Whether it heals or destroys. Whether it brings peace or takes it away forever. I thought about Margaret, sitting by her window, waiting, trusting that I would come, that I would fix this, that I would bring her home. She trusted me, still, after 46 years, after everything. I couldn't fail her, even if it meant destroying everything else. Even if peace was the price. Greenwood Oaks had hung streamers in the common room, blue and white, balloons tied to chairbacks, a banner that said Family Day in cheerful letters, tables with cookies and punch, classical music played softly, Vivaldi again, the same piece that had been playing when I first came. Residents sat in clusters, some alert, some vacant, some somewhere in between. Family members hovered, attentive, guilty, making up for weeks of absence with an afternoon of forced cheer. I arrived at 4. Michael was already there, standing near the window, alone. Becca stood across the room, talking to a nurse, smiling. Perfect posture, perfect hair, perfect mask. She saw me. The smile held, but something shifted in her eyes. Calculation. She excused herself, walked toward me, confident, in control.
Richard, I'm so glad you came. Margaret will be happy to see you. She's been having a better day. More alert.
I need to speak with you, privately.
Of course. There's a consultation room down the hall. We can...
Here is fine. Michael should be part of this conversation. She glanced at Michael. He'd moved closer, standing just behind me. His face was empty, resolved.
All right.
Becca said. Her voice stayed light, pleasant.
What's this about?
I pulled the folder from under my arm, opened it, took out Dr. Whitmore's statement, handed it to her. She read it. Her face didn't change, not at first. Then, a small crack, just at the corner of her mouth, a tightening around her eyes.
I don't understand. Dr. Whitmore is saying the evaluation was compromised?
She's saying you compromised it, that you coached Margaret to fail, that you interrupted correct answers, that you shaped the narrative to guarantee placement.
That's absurd. I was helping. Margaret was confused. I was clarifying.
You were lying, and you taught Margaret to lie with you. The mask slipped. Just for a moment, I saw anger underneath. Then it returned, smooth, controlled.
Richard, I know you're upset. I know this is difficult. But Margaret needed help. We all saw it. You were away. You didn't see how bad it had gotten.
I called her every day. She was fine.
She was hiding it from you. People with dementia learn to mask, to perform normalcy. We had to act.
While I was gone, while I couldn't stop you.
We were protecting her.
You were stealing from her. The room had gone quiet. Other families were watching now, pretending not to listen while listening to every word. Becca's voice dropped.
We should discuss this somewhere private.
No, we should discuss it here, where Margaret can hear, where everyone can hear what you did.
I didn't do anything wrong.
You forged documents. You manipulated a medical professional. You had my wife institutionalized based on fraud. You told her I wanted her here. You made her doubt herself. You erased her. For what? The house? Money? What was worth destroying her for? Becca's composure cracked.
You don't understand. You and Margaret, you have everything. This beautiful house, your pensions, your savings. Meanwhile, Michael and we're drowning. 3 kids in private school, mortgage payments, car payments. We're trying to give them the life we never had, and we're barely keeping our heads above water.
So you decided to take ours?
I decided to help us all. You and Margaret don't need that big house. You can't maintain it. One of you is going to fall down those stairs, or forget the stove, or...
Margaret has never forgotten the stove. She's never fallen. She's never wandered. You invented those stories.
I made them better before they became true.
The words hung in the air. The logic of someone who'd convinced herself, who'd built a narrative where theft was protection, where fraud was foresight. Michael spoke, his voice quiet, steady.
You lied to me.
Becca turned to him.
I did this for us, for our family.
You used me, made me sign papers, made me believe Mom was sick when she wasn't, made me complicit.
Michael,
I called my mother, confused. I told people she needed help. I put her in this place because I believed you.
she does need help. Maybe not now, but eventually. We were just being prepared.
We were being criminals.
Becca's face hardened.
Fine. Call it what you want. But I won't apologize for trying to secure our future, for thinking ahead, for being practical while you all lived in denial.
I pressed play on my phone, held it up.
Richard's making noise, but it's too late. She already failed the test. The doctor already believed us. I told her Margaret had been getting worse. Use the word unsafe. They always respond to that. Just stick to the story.
Michael had left his phone on the kitchen counter, hidden under a newspaper, while Becca talked to her sister on speakerphone, confirming the plan, refining the details. The color drained from Becca's face.
You can't. That's illegal. Recording someone without consent.
In Texas, only one party needs to consent. Michael consented. It's his phone, his house. She looked at Michael.
You helped him?
You helped yourself to my mother.
I was helping all of us.
No, you were helping yourself, and you made me an accomplice.
Becca's control shattered. Her voice rose, sharp, desperate.
We just wanted a future. You two had yours. You got to build your lives, buy your house when it was affordable, retire with pensions. We don't have that. We're suffocating. And you're sitting on almost $2 million in equity, while your grandchildren eat store-brand cereal because we can't afford the good kind.
The room was silent. Residents, families, nurses, everyone staring. So you built your future by erasing someone else's, I said quietly. Becca's eyes were wet. Angry tears, not remorse, just fury at being caught.
What happens now? You going to call the police? Have me arrested? Put your grandchildren's mother in jail?
That's up to you.
What does that mean?
It means you have a choice. You can make this right quietly, or you can make it right publicly.
I'm not admitting to anything.
Then I file charges. Elder abuse, fraud, forgery. You'll spend years fighting it. Spend your money on lawyers instead of private school. And you'll lose. Because I have evidence. Dr. Whitmore's statement, the recording, Margaret's testimony. You'll lose, and you'll go to prison.
Or
you plead guilty, quietly, accept probation, community service, pay restitution, and maybe your family survives this. Becca looked at Michael. He looked away. She looked at the other families. They weren't pretending anymore, just watching, witnessing, judging. She looked at me.
you won. Is that what you want to hear? You beat me. Congratulations.
I don't want to hear anything. I want Margaret home, and I want you to face consequences for what you did.
Fine. I'll plead guilty. I'll do whatever. Just make this stop.
It's already stopped. Your part in it, anyway. I turned away, walked toward Margaret's room. The crowd parted, silent. I could feel their eyes, their assessment. Some sympathetic, some disapproving, some just uncomfortable to have witnessed a family dissolve. Margaret sat by the window. Same chair, same light. But something was different. She stood when I entered. Margaret,
I heard.
she said. I'm sorry you had to.
Don't be. I needed to hear it. Needed to know.
Know what?
that it wasn't me, that I wasn't losing my mind, that you didn't abandon me.
I crossed the room, took her hands. Never. I would never.
I know that now, but for a while I thought.
Her voice caught.
I thought maybe I was sick and didn't realize it, that everyone could see it except me, that I was the problem.
You were never the problem.
When do I come home?
Now. Today. I've already spoken to administration. Dr. Whitmore sent a letter withdrawing her recommendation. They're processing your discharge. Margaret looked around the room. Small, clean, impersonal.
I was only here 10 days. It felt like months.
I know.
Will Becca go to prison?
Probably not. Probation. Community service. She'll plead guilty, avoid trial. It'll be quiet.
And Michael?
Michael is angry, hurt, but he'll survive.
The children.
That's the hard part. Margaret nodded.
It always is. The children always pay for their parents' choices.
We stood in silence. The afternoon light slanted through the window. Dust motes drifted in the beams. Margaret.
I'm not angry.
Margaret said finally. You should be.
Maybe. But I'm too tired for anger, too grateful to be leaving, too relieved that it's over.
It's not quite over. There's still court, paperwork, lawyers.
That's your world, the legal part. I just want to go home.
Then let's go home. We drove in silence. Margaret looked out the window, at familiar streets, familiar houses, the world she'd been taken from. Margaret, thoughtful, call.
Will things go back to normal?
She asked. No.
Good. Normal was being fooled. I'd rather have truth, even if it's uncomfortable.
At home, Margaret walked through the rooms, touching things. Her books, her chair, the coffee maker, the small familiar objects of her life. She stopped in the kitchen, opened the drawer where she kept her crossword puzzles. They were still there, untouched. But
she didn't throw them away.
Margaret said she probably meant to. Ran out of time.
Or she knew. Some part of her knew this was wrong.
Maybe. Margaret closed the drawer.
What happens to us now? To the family?
I don't know.
Will we see the grandchildren?
I don't know that either. Depends on Michael, on what he tells them, on whether Becca lets them.
She will. Eventually. She'll want them to have grandparents, even ones who prosecuted their mother.
Margaret was probably right. Years from now, after the shame faded, after the anger cooled, the children would come back, cautious, confused, but present. It wouldn't be the same, could never be the same, but it would be something.
Do you regret it?
Margaret asked.
Going after her? Destroying the family?
I didn't destroy it. She did.
But you chose to reveal it. You could have handled it quietly, made her stop, brought me home, let it end there.
And left her free to do it to someone else?
Maybe. Is that worse than what the children will go through?
I had no answer. The prosecutor in me said justice required consequences. The grandfather in me said family required mercy. Both were right. Both were wrong. I did what I thought was right, I said finally.
I know. And it was right. I just wonder if right always has to cost so much.
Weeks later, Becca pleaded guilty. Federal court. Judge Alan Pierce presiding. He'd recused himself from anything else, but not this. He wanted to see it through. Becca stood at the defendant's table. Navy suit, hair pulled back. She looked smaller somehow, less perfect, less certain. Michael sat in the gallery, alone. The children stayed home, too young to understand, old enough to know something was broken. I sat next to Margaret. We'd debated coming, decided we needed to witness this, needed to see justice completed. Becca pleaded guilty to elder abuse and fraud. 2 years in federal custody, suspended after 6 months with good behavior, 5 years probation, 2,000 hours community service, full restitution of facility costs.
Mrs. Hale, you preyed on family, on trust, on the vulnerability of someone who loved you. That's not just illegal, it's unconscionable. If it were up to me alone, you'd serve the full sentence. But I'm bound by the plea agreement. Don't waste the mercy you've been shown.
Becca nodded, said nothing. She was led away. Michael stayed seated, staring at his hands. Margaret and I left. The courthouse steps were bright, harsh sunlight after dim courtrooms.
It's done,
Margaret said. Yes?
Do you feel vindicated?
No. I feel sad.
Good. If you felt vindicated, I'd worry about you.
We walked to the car, drove home. Margaret made tea. I sat at the table. We didn't talk much, didn't need to. Justice had been served. Truth had emerged. Margaret was home. But the house felt different, quieter. Not the peaceful quiet of contentment, the heavy quiet of loss. We'd won, but winning felt like losing. That night, I lay in bed listening to Margaret breathe, steady, safe, home. And I thought about the price of justice, about doing what's right, even when it costs everything, about choosing truth over comfort, law over love, principle over peace. I had spent 32 years believing justice healed, that truth made things whole, that doing right always led to good. But sometimes justice just reveals, truth just exposes, right just is. It doesn't restore peace, it just restores meaning. And sometimes that has to be enough.